Happy Monday and welcome to Love at Lunch, where sharing knowledge feels like a little act of love. So welcome. Today, let's think about, could you give me a hand with this? Could you help me out for a second? Is asking for help, or the official term, delegation, tough for you? Me too. Here's some of the reasons why. Sometimes when we know the mechanism or the cause of why this makes this extra challenging, we're able to mitigate it and move through. So let's look at why sometimes it is challenging to ask for help. One of the reasons is that it's vulnerable, and we feel like asking for help is attached to our identity. So if I ask for help, somebody might think that I'm not capable or I can't do this. And so, number one, if you have trouble asking for help, look out for how it ties to your identity. The next part is it might feel like a value violation. Perhaps you have a value of independence or autonomy, or just do it, or take action. And in the definition of that value, it does not include ask for help. And so it's important to see if there are any values that might be getting in the way. And the truth is we have more than one value, clearly. Is there another value that you can be leaning into? If you have a value of generosity and you like to give to other people, values when they are in a healthy relationship to us as the person who has the value, they come first to us. They are intrinsically focused, internally focused, and then we provide it to others. So being generous to ourselves, maybe when we feel like we've reached our capacity or we need some support or even a lens on something we're working on and asking for help, maybe an act of generosity. So if we want to be fulfilled and feel like we're living with integrity, our values come first to ourselves and then to others. Perhaps you think that you are keeping tabs with that person and you're like, well, I haven't really helped that person. It's important to understand that we don't have to have this spreadsheet of reciprocity. It's important that we know that people who are generous with other people do tend to have a greater ability to ask for help. So that's important, but it doesn't have to be tit for tat in that relationship. You might be generous somewhere else. It still means that you can ask for help. So understand that as well can stand in the way of asking for help. Sometimes we just don't even know how to ask for help. And it's a language that literally it's just like, what sort of statement do I feel comfortable asking? So I'll end off with some ways that you can start. And sometimes we don't trust the other people or we don't trust ourselves. There's a big component of trust. It's a vulnerable thing in order to ask for help. We do know from research that people who ask for help build trust in relationships. And as a leader, it's one of the best ways that we can build connection and build trust is by asking for help. So take that time to ask for help. So some of the things that you can consider doing in order to delegate more effectively is know what you want to ask. So focus on a current project, write down your goals for it, write down the most important tasks for your goals and those action steps and resources required, materials, information, data, advice. And when then you have that series of needs, you can frame a question and ask for help in order to achieve it. You may also need a permission to ask for help that sets some intention, creates some awareness, and some accountability. Then you can ask smartly. So using the SMART framework, specific, meaningful, why you need it, action oriented, ask for something to be done, real, it's authentic, it's not made up, and time bound when you need it. A SMART request is easier to respond to than one that misses the other 5 of those. And really important also that we consider that part of allowing people to step up and trusting that they have their own boundaries as well. So I struggle with asking for help. My husband offers to, lots of support. And part of it is I don't want him to be more generous than I am. So I keep sort of this spreadsheet going in my head. Doesn't really allow for the support that sometimes we really need. And I take over. Independence is a big thing for me. And I think, oh, if he asks me to do something, I always say, no, I'll just take that on. But it really doesn't allow for us to be cared for by others, supported by others. And oftentimes we feel resentful, alone, and we end up feeling the feelings we don't want to feel. So asking for help, delegating is all very important. And so big fat permission slips, permission to ask for help, build trust in relationship, build connection, trust that people will have their boundaries. Going back to my husband, sometimes I don't trust that he'll have his boundaries up and he won't say no when he wants to. I need to let that go. That's not my responsibility. That's his. So 8 ways you can ask for help today, my beloved friends. Can you give me a hand with this? Could you help me for a second? Could I ask you for a favor? I wonder if you could help me with this. I could do with some help, please. I can't manage. Can you help? There's a brave one for you. Give me a hand with this, will you? Lend me a hand with this? 8 simple ways. So start today. Set aside those 5 ways that sometimes can get in the way of us getting the help we need, creating that connection, that trust, and that support so we can stay at better capacity to do what we really need to do. Delegation, the big D. Try it out today.